You ever wonder if, say, a tiny white lie carries the same weight as a massive deception? Or if something you did by accident is really the same as something you did on purpose? Well, believe it or not, over 1,500 years ago, an ancient Buddhist text laid out this incredibly detailed system to answer exactly that. And it's not some simple good versus bad list. Oh no, it's more like a deep dive into the physics of our actions. So, to that big question, are all bad actions created equal? This ancient text doesn't just say no. It gives us a whole framework, almost like a moral calculus, to understand why they aren't equal. And that's exactly what we're going to break down right now. So, how does this ancient system even work? Well, first, we're going to look at the basic idea of heavy versus light actions. Then, we'll see how that idea applies to what we actually do and say. After that, we're going right to the source, our own minds. And to wrap it all up, we'll explore the 3 different ways these actions are believed to literally shape our reality. Okay, let's start with this core idea. Heavy versus light actions. Seriously, forget a simple good or evil checklist. This framework is way more like a physics of morality, where every single choice we make has a specific weight and, a predictable trajectory. The text calls certain things heavy actions, and you can see the original term right here. These are the actions that have really profound, definite consequences. But here is the absolute key insight. The weight of an action isn't just in the act itself. Nope. It's determined by all the conditions surrounding it. So how is that weight actually calculated? Well, the text gives us 5 specific factors to consider. You can think of it like a checklist. Number 1, what was the intention? Was it coming from this place of intense greed or hatred? 2, what was the method? Was it, cruel or was it carefully planned out? 3, was there a lack of an antidote? And what that means is, did you feel any regret or did you try to fix it? 4, did you hold a wrongful view by trying to justify the act, telling yourself it was okay? And finally, number 5, and this is a big one, the object. Who or what did your action actually affect? As you're about to see, this last one is often the most important of all. All right, so let's take that 5-point framework and apply it to the real world, starting with the things we physically do and say, what the text calls the deeds of body and speech. This is where all that theory gets very, very concrete. So the text starts with the heaviest physical action you can think of, taking a life. But it argues that even here, it's not just a single act. Its karmic weight can change dramatically based on the circumstances. So applying that framework, what makes this act heavy? Well, the object is absolutely paramount. The weight is far, far greater if the target is, say, a parent, a teacher, or a respected spiritual figure. Same goes if the motivation is this deep-seated, long-held hatred, or if the method is particularly cruel. And crucially, the text really emphasizes the vulnerability of the victim. Harming someone who is helpless, poor, or trusts you, that's considered an especially heavy action. Next up, we have taking what is not given, which, of course, is what we just call theft. And again, the key here isn't that you stole, but what you stole, from whom you stole it, and how. So what makes theft heavy? Well, it's heavy if it's a habit, something done again and again over time. The object is also super critical. Stealing from the poor, the sick, or someone who trusts you is much heavier than stealing from the wealthy. Stealing something sacred or of huge value also adds a lot of weight. And the text specifically singles out stealing from a spiritual community as a particularly grave offense. Okay, so now we shift from actions of the body to those of speech, starting with false speech, or, lying. So when is a lie more than just a lie? When does it become heavy? Well, it's heavy when you use it to cheat someone out of their property. It's heavy when it targets a respected person, like a parent or a teacher. The consequences are also a huge factor. A lie that leads to someone getting hurt or even killed is obviously incredibly severe. But the text identifies the absolute, most heavy form of lying, a lie that is specifically designed to break apart a harmonious spiritual community. That's considered the worst of the worst. All right, so we've talked about actions and words, but the text says all of that stuff starts somewhere deeper, in the unseen world of our own minds. So now let's look at the intentions that fuel everything else. So the text highlights 2 really powerful mental states. First, you've got covetousness, that intense, burning desire for what someone else has. It becomes heavy when you're coveting something sacred or when that desire is just born from pure arrogance. And then there's its opposite, ill will, actively wishing for other people to be harmed. This is considered especially heavy when it's directed at your parents, the helpless, or
and this is interesting, anyone who has ever been kind to you.
But beyond those two, the text identifies one mental state that is the heaviest of them all. It calls it wrong view. And this isn't just about having a different opinion. It's something much, much more fundamental.
You see, heavy wrong view is a fundamental rejection of moral reality itself. It's denying the law of cause and effect, basically the idea that our actions even matter. It's the belief that true wisdom or enlightenment is impossible, that it doesn't exist. And it's being so dogmatic and stuck in your own view that you actively attack all other possibilities. In essence, the text sees this as the heaviest action of all, because it's a worldview that just slams the door shut on any kind of moral or spiritual growth.
Okay, so we've seen how actions are weighed, but what happens next? What are the consequences? Our final section looks at the 3 karmic fruits, or, how we reap what we sow. The text says the results of our actions ripple out on 3 totally different levels.
So here they are, the 3 ripples. The first is the ripening fruit. This is the big one, the primary result that the text says determines your future rebirth. The second is the corresponding fruit. This is more immediate. It's where you experience a kind of mirror image of what you did to others in your own life. And the third, which is just fascinating, is the dominant fruit. This is how your actions literally shape the physical world around you.
This table, this connects all the dots. Let's just take taking life as an example. The long-term result, the ripening fruit, is rebirth in a lower realm of suffering. The personal result, the corresponding fruit, is having a short lifespan. But then look at the dominant fruit. It actually contributes to a world where medicine is ineffective and disease is common. Or check out ill will. The personal result is a mind filled with hate and conflict. But the environmental result? A world prone to epidemics, disasters, and vicious animals. I mean, the text is making a pretty radical claim here, that our collective actions literally create the very reality we inhabit, both inside and out. To really drive home this idea of a deeply interconnected world, the text uses this powerful, kind of mind-bending image. The mother of one life becomes the wife in another. The father becomes the son an enemy. It's this radical vision where nothing is fixed. Our relationships, our roles, they're all constantly being reshaped by the consequences of our actions, playing out over these vast stretches of time. So that's a quick tour of a moral system from over 1,500 years ago. And really, the key takeaway isn't about whether you believe in rebirth or not. It's about the profound perspective it offers, that every single action, no matter how small, has weight, and that our intentions and their impact on others matter so, so deeply. Which, of course, leaves us with the final question. How does this ancient map of cause and effect change the way you think about the choices you're going to make today?